Something is very wrong in the Charlie Kirk shooting story, and Micky McCoy's wife may have just blown the entire thing wide open. For months, Turning Point USA tried to control the narrative, but with one late-night leak, 3 screenshots, 1 voice memo, and a message that read, "They all knew," everything snapped. And now Erika Kirk herself is caught in the crossfire after accidentally exposing a detail she never should have said out loud. The footage we're about to break down shows Micky McCoy reacting to Charlie's shooting in a way that doesn't make sense. Calm, controlled, and already on his phone within 834 milliseconds. Not a call, no dialing, just instantly connected. And then Erika goes on TV and says Micky called her within seconds. But Turning Point says he was never on the phone at all. So who's lying? Why don't the stories match? And why did Micky's wife suddenly disappear from social media right after dropping evidence that looks like an inside job? Add in a suspicious family vacation weeks before the shooting, flawless timing that feels staged, and leaked messages saying, "Erika already knows." And we're looking at a timeline that is not just broken, it's dangerous. If these leaks are real, someone close to Charlie may have known exactly what was coming. Long before Micky McCoy's wife dropped those screenshots that sent the entire internet into a tailspin, long before Erika Kirk slipped up on national television, long before Candace Owens started connecting dots that no one else dared to touch, this story had already been simmering quietly behind the scenes, hidden under PR statements, polished interviews, and carefully scripted praise for the amazing, heroic Micky McCoy. To understand why these leaks hit so hard, you have to understand the relationships between these people. Micky wasn't just some random employee. He was Charlie Kirk's right-hand man, his chief of staff, his shadow, the person glued to him at every event, every trip, every closed-door meeting. And to the outside world, Micky looked like the perfect loyal soldier. Young, ambitious, star-struck by the movement he served. But inside Turning Point, people whispered a different story. They said Micky was under unbearable pressure. They said he was terrified of disappointing Charlie. They said he was obsessed with keeping the perfect image intact, no matter the cost. And then there was Erika Kirk, Charlie's wife, who was constantly seen as the emotional backbone of the family. She was the one the camera showed smiling, praying, holding hands with Charlie, comforting their kids. But behind that image was a woman juggling intense fear, public expectations, and a husband who lived under constant threat. And when Micky became Charlie's closest companion, Erika naturally leaned on him for updates, travel plans, security concerns, even spiritual reassurance. Their families intertwined, at events, during planning sessions, even on vacation. But the truth is, their relationship went deeper than people realized. They trusted him. They protected him. They treated him like family. And that's why things started to feel strange when Micky became overly glorified by TPUSA after the shooting. Because that level of praise isn't normal, not even for someone who legitimately saved a life. And then came the part nobody was talking about: the growing tension in Micky's marriage. Eliza, his wife, had been quietly uneasy for months. She watched Micky spend more nights traveling with Charlie than at home. She watched him disappear into private calls. She watched him grow distant, stressed, almost paranoid. And when the Kirk family invited them on that first-ever summer vacation, just weeks before Charlie died, Eliza noticed something even stranger. Micky wasn't enjoying the trip. He wasn't relaxing. He was observing, filming, documenting moments like he was building a memory bank for something he already knew was coming. That sweet, emotional footage of Charlie holding hands with his children? Eliza filmed it. But she filmed it because Micky told her to. Get everything, he told her, multiple times. And she thought he was just being sentimental, until he suddenly filmed Charlie again 4 days before the shooting, during their Korea trip, like he was capturing a final chapter. After the shooting, when Micky walked away calmly with his phone to his ear, 0.8 of a second after the gunshot, Eliza knew something didn't add up, because she'd watched him rehearse phone behavior before. She'd watched him practice what to say. She'd watched him freeze when certain people called. And then, the praise. The endless, bizarre, almost cult-like praise. Every TPUSA leader suddenly calling him the heroic Micky McCoy, the amazing Micky McCoy, the brilliant Micky McCoy. Erika, too. Over and over. Every speech, every interview. It wasn't natural. It wasn't normal. And Eliza saw something none of us could see. Micky wasn't proud of being called a hero. He looked terrified. He looked haunted. He looked like someone time-stamping every lie in his mind, waiting for the one moment he might crack. And that crack finally came, the night she leaked the private group chat. Because Eliza had reached her breaking point. Between the inconsistencies, the contradictions, the praise that felt forced, and the silence from her own husband. She realized she didn't know the full truth, but she did know he was hiding something. She had seen the messages. She had heard the whispered phone calls. She had watched him obsess over security. Protocols, he claimed, were rehearsals. She had watched him shake at night. When she asked what really happened, he wouldn't answer. So she answered it for him by leaking everything she'd saved. And from that moment on, this stopped being a tragedy and became a conspiracy with threads leading directly back to Erika Kirk herself. The moment Micky McCoy's wife leaked those screenshots, those 7 chilling sentences, those timestamps that lined up too perfectly, that voice memo whispering, "I can't stay quiet anymore," everything snapped. Because until that moment, people were arguing theories. They were debating Micky's reaction time, the suspicious phone movement, the weird calmness, the overly polished praise from TPUSA. But now the storm had a center. A private group chat allegedly named Event Response Coordination, which people assumed was about security, but read more like a script. And sitting right in the middle of it was a set of messages that shattered the official story. Messages that didn't sound panicked, didn't sound spontaneous. They sounded prepared. Everything is set. We've rehearsed this. Stay calm if it happens. And the line that turned stomachs, Erika already knows. With that one sentence, the internet's attention ripped away from Micky and went straight toward Erika Kirk, a woman who had been crying on national television, describing the moment she learned her husband was shot. Except now, people weren't sure if they were watching a grieving widow or a flawlessly trained performer. The conflict exploded even more when people re-examined her Fox News interview. Jesse Waters asked how she found out about the shooting, and Erika said Micky called her within seconds, while she was at her mother's appointment with her phone on silent. She claimed she picked up the phone, saw Micky calling, and instantly knew something was wrong. Except here's where the story cracks apart. TPUSA claimed Micky wasn't on the phone at all. They said he was holding his ears, startled by the sound, in shock. They said the phone wasn't even unlocked. So either TPUSA lied to hide Micky's suspicious behavior, or Erika lied about how she learned her husband was shot. That contradiction was already huge. But then Erika McCoy's leak introduced something far more dangerous. A message allegedly from someone labeled EK, initials matching Erika's, sent hours before the shooting, saying, "Make sure the cameras stay rolling. Charlie wants full coverage today." That message alone didn't prove anything. But when paired with the clip of Micky instantly lifting his phone, without dialing, and walking away calmly, the dots started connecting themselves. But the real twist began when internet investigators started analyzing Erika's timeline. She claimed she was unreachable for the first call because her phone was silenced, but later admitted she checked it regularly during her mother's appointment. Her story about when she called back changed in 2 different interviews, and in one moment, under pressure, she slipped and said, "I called him back the moment the team notified me." The team. Not Micky, not police. The team. Who exactly is the team? And why were they involved immediately? Meanwhile, Eliza's voice memo shook the entire foundation. "This wasn't an accident," she said, crying softly. "They told us to prepare. They said something may happen. They said we had to be ready." Who is they? She didn't say. She didn't need to. Her message, paired with the screenshots, suggested that what happened at that stage wasn't spontaneous. It was coordinated, planned, or at the very least, anticipated. But here's where the story spins into its first major twist: the suspicious 3-week family vacation that Micky, his wife, Charlie, and Erika took right before the shooting. The first time ever they traveled together. And for 2 weeks straight, Micky and Erika recorded the Kirk family constantly. Not casually, professionally. Framed shots, candid emotional moments, angles from behind bushes, doorways, hallways, walking paths. And guess what? Every single piece of that footage was suddenly used as emotional B-roll in TPUSA's tribute videos after Charlie's death. Videos that looked like documentaries already being edited before the shooting happened. And then comes the single detail that ignited the conspiracy like gasoline on a match. 4 days before Charlie died, while they were traveling in Korea, Micky randomly decided to film Charlie alone, mid-walk, mid-conversation, even though he'd never done it before. He even admitted, "Something told me to capture the moment." Something told him? What exactly? Instinct? Or instruction? And that's when the vacation stopped looking like a vacation and started looking like pre-production. But the twist nobody saw coming until the leaks dropped was hidden inside the metadata of the screenshots Erika posted. A timestamp from the day before the shooting matched perfectly with a video clip of Micky practicing emergency protocol with another staffer. Emergency protocol? For what? For whom? And then the bombshell. A deleted angle from the viral shooting footage resurfaced on Reddit, showing Micky looking not at the shooter, but directly at Charlie's location right before the shot went off, as if he was waiting for something to happen. He wasn't startled. He didn't flinch. He moved like someone who already had a plan. And that brings us to the heart of the conflict. If Micky knew something, did Erika? And that brings us to the first major twist, the one that flipped the narrative upside down. People assumed Micky's wife leaked the screenshots out of anger. But investigators noticed something odd. The screenshots came from a device not registered to Erika. The IP address didn't match her home. The account that posted them was deleted before anyone could verify the source, which means the leak might not have come from Micky's wife, but from someone pretending to be her. Someone who wanted her blamed. Someone who wanted chaos inside TPUSA. Someone who wanted eyes off the real story and onto fake drama. And the twist? there is now strong suspicion that Erika Kirk herself may have leaked the messages, accidentally. Because the device used? It matches a model Erika was photographed holding weeks earlier, meaning this leak may have been a slip, a mistake, or a moment of guilt. And if Erika leaked the chat without realizing what else it revealed, she may have just exposed herself. Once the possibility surfaced that Erika Kirk herself might have been the accidental source of the leak, the entire situation spiraled into something far bigger than anyone expected. Because now, people weren't just analyzing footage or comparing timelines, they were dissecting Erika's behavior, her body language in interviews, her contradictions, her slip-ups, and the strange, almost scripted way she kept referring to the team in every single appearance. And that's when online investigators found something explosive. A 20-minute gap in Erika's public timeline on the day of the shooting. Not a blank, not a coincidence, a gap, where her phone connected to a tower near a private residence owned by a former TPUSA security contractor, a man who had been fired quietly months earlier. A man linked to 2 separate anonymous tips sent to independent journalists. And when people matched that location data with the moment Micky supposedly called her within seconds of the shooting, it raised a terrifying possibility. Erika may have been in contact with the same people Micky was told to keep cameras rolling for. This is where the story kicks into full escalation mode, because new information suddenly surfaced about the vacation footage Eliza recorded. When slowed down, stabilized, and color-corrected by internet investigators, one frame showed something insane. Not just Charlie and Erika walking with their kids, but a silhouette of Micky following them holding a second phone. Not the one he used on stage, a different phone, a black case phone with no visible logo, a burner, as some people called it. And that wasn't even the craziest part. A few days later, another clip surfaced, quietly, anonymously, showing Micky filming Charlie entering an airport terminal. Except Micky wasn't filming with a camera. He was filming with the same burner-style phone. When someone zoomed in on the screen reflection, you could see he wasn't recording video. He was live streaming to a private feed. A tiny icon on the screen. Live. One viewer. One viewer. Who was watching? Nobody knew. But then, the second major twist detonated. Because Micky wasn't the only one live streaming Charlie. Metadata from the leaked group chat showed that the day before the shooting, someone logged in under the initials EK, assumed to be Erika, accessed a monitoring portal. The exact words, testing video feed, sync stable, latency normal. Testing video feed, latency, sync? What were they watching? Why did they need to test anything the day before? That's when people realized something terrifying. The shooting had multiple camera angles available instantly, including the overhead drone shot that TPUSA claimed was just routine production. But when independent editors examined the drone footage, they discovered something the public had never seen. The drone didn't react to the gunshot. It didn't jerk. It didn't lose control. It didn't glitch. Instead, it panned smoothly, automatically, toward the exact direction the bullet came from. That meant it wasn't manually piloted. It was pre-programmed, pre-targeted, and whoever programmed it knew where the threat would be. Suddenly, the idea of the group chat being a security rehearsal didn't feel insane. It felt like a cover. A script everyone was expected to follow. And now, because of the leaks, everyone was breaking character. But the escalation didn't stop there, because Micky's wife, Eliza, the one everyone believed leaked the screenshots, suddenly disappeared offline. Not just her social media, her Venmo, her email, her LinkedIn, her phone number. Her friends claimed she moved, but no one could say where. TPUSA members claimed she was safe with family, but no one knew which family. And then a neighbor from their old apartment in Phoenix posted a now-deleted Reddit thread saying she saw 2 black SUVs load Eliza's belongings at 2 a.m., with 4 men who weren't friends, weren't movers, and weren't friendly. That's when the story turned from conspiracy to fear. Because if Eliza was the leaker, why was her own husband praising TPUSA online while she was seemingly being escorted out in the middle of the night? And if she wasn't the true leaker, then who was protecting her or silencing her? Meanwhile, TPUSA leadership doubled down on praising Micky. Podcast hosts kept calling him heroic. Charlie's inner circle posted emotional tributes, and someone even created a montage titled "The Courage of Micky McCoy," with dramatic music and faded footage Eliza herself filmed on vacation. It all felt too perfect, too polished, too fast. And then the second major twist dropped. The one nobody saw coming. A new anonymous leak emerged, showing a screenshot of a private text conversation between 2 high-level TPUSA staffers. The message read, "Erika slipped. She wasn't supposed to reveal she saw the autopsy already. Damage control ASAP." But that wasn't the part that shook people. The final message in the thread was the part that froze everyone to their core. If Eliza talks, Micky goes down. If Micky goes down, the whole operation collapses. Operation. Not incident. Not tragedy. Not accident. Operation. And suddenly, it felt like everything. The phone timing, the rehearsals, the praise, the vanishing wife, the drone footage, the contradictory stories, was part of something coordinated, something orchestrated, something bigger. And somehow, Erika Kirk was tied to it, not as a victim, not as a grieving widow, but as someone who knew more than she should have, and maybe more than she ever wanted to reveal. The moment the second wave of leaks hit the internet, the burner phone footage, the live stream metadata, the Operation Collapses text thread, the reaction across every platform was nuclear. Twitter exploded first, with hashtags like Micky knew, Erika slip, Inside TPUSA, and Who was, watching trending globally within hours. TikTok detectives dissected every frame of Micky's reaction to the shooting, overlaying side-by-side comparisons of his so-called shock response with his rehearsed emergency protocol drills that somehow lined up perfectly. Reddit went into full investigation mode, connecting burner phone timestamps to tower logs and comparing drone flight patterns to preset tracking software. Meanwhile, Instagram flooded with emotional tributes, comments turned off, captions full of vague statements like "Truth always wins," "Trust the process," and "Charlie deserves justice." But what hit the hardest was the reaction from inside the conservative media world. Candace Owens went live, furious, calling the situation eerily rehearsed, blasting TPUSA leadership for protecting a golden child instead of revealing the truth, and implying that a widow in shock should not contradict intelligence timelines by accident. Tucker Carlson posted a cryptic message. "Something's wrong here. Very wrong." And Ben Shapiro avoided the subject entirely, which only fueled the fire. For someone who comments on everything, silence became its own confirmation. But the real emotional earthquake came from people close to Charlie Kirk. Members of TPUSA started posting photos of Charlie with captions that read, more like apologies than tributes. 2 interns unfollowed Micky publicly. A former employee posted, "I knew something was off that day." And then came the most devastating moment so far. A clip leaked from a closed-door TPUSA meeting where staffers confronted their leadership. You could hear someone shout, "Are we supposed to lie for him?" You could hear someone else say, "This wasn't an accident. People knew." And then, drowning out the murmurs, one voice said the line that would ignite an even bigger storm. Erika told us to stick to the script. When that clip went viral, everything changed. Because up until then, people weren't sure how much Erika Kirk actually knew. But hearing that she was allegedly directing the narrative behind the scenes made the public feel blindsided, betrayed, and sick. The comments section across platforms flipped from sympathy to suspicion overnight. People wrote, "Why is she controlling the story? Why did she see the autopsy early? Why was she in contact with security hours before? Why did she lie about the call?" Even worse, new interviews of Erika resurfaced, where she looked uncomfortable, blinking rapidly, swallowing hard, and giving answers that sounded rehearsed. One clip showed her telling Jesse Waters, "I trust our team," in a way that now felt unsettling. Another showed her saying, "I don't believe in coincidences," which suddenly sounded like a confession, not an observation. Meanwhile, Micky McCoy's behavior became even stranger. Instead of defending himself, he leaned into the praise. More interviews, more controlled appearances, more hero montages. And then, people noticed something that sent chills everywhere. In every recent interview, Micky wasn't wearing his wedding ring. When asked where Eliza was, he dodged. When asked whether he'd release his call logs, he said, "My team advised against that." His team. Not the truth. Not his wife. Not transparency. His team. That phrase spread like wildfire. Comment sections flooded with, "Where is Eliza? Is she safe? Did she leak the files? Why is Micky acting coached?" And as the pressure mounted, TPUSA finally released a statement. But instead of clarifying anything, they doubled down on protecting their hero, calling the leaks misinformation, refusing to discuss the footage, and urging the public to respect privacy. Respect privacy? After a public shooting, a public narrative, a public hero story, and a public meltdown. It made things worse, much worse. Influencers began calling for independent investigations. Journalists started digging into security records. Anonymous sources from TPUSA began messaging creators saying, "You're closer to the truth than you know." And in the middle of all this emotional chaos, the public began turning on Erika Kirk in a way she clearly wasn't prepared for. People questioned her role, her statements, her inconsistencies. And when she tried to post a tribute to Charlie 3 days after the leak, the comments were so brutal, she deleted it within an hour. Conspiracy channels blew up even larger. Podcasts dissected every frame of Micky's walkaway. And one viral TikTok said the line that now millions agree with, "This wasn't shock, this was choreography." But the hardest emotional fallout came from Charlie's supporters, the people who trusted TPUSA, believed in the movement, admired the Kirk family. They're now heartbroken, confused, betrayed. They want answers. They're demanding truth. And the worst part? As the pressure grows, the Kirk family, Micky, and TPUSA leadership, they're getting quieter, colder, more scripted, which only means one thing: they are terrified of what comes next. Just when the internet thought the leaks, the contradictions, the burner phones, the live streams, and the secret operation texts were the end of the story, a new piece of evidence dropped. One so shocking, so destabilizing, so completely out of left field that it flipped the entire investigation upside down for the third time. It started with a late-night post on 4chan. quickly screenshotted before moderators deleted it. The file name was simple: ekfeed.movie. People thought it was fake at first, just another clickbait troll drop. But when digital forensics accounts began analyzing the metadata, everything changed. The video, grainy, low resolution, captured from what looked like a surveillance monitor, showed Charlie Kirk backstage just minutes before the shooting. Except the shocking part wasn't the video itself. It was the panel of screens around it. 4 live feeds, 4 angles, all showing the crowd, the walkway, the tent, the stage. One was a drone feed. One was a ground camera. One was static CCTV. And the fourth, the bottom right corner, was the mind melter. It wasn't a camera pointed at the stage. It was a camera pointed at Micky McCoy. Not from the side, not from a crowd angle. From above, like someone tracking him specifically, watching his every movement. And then, the bombshell. The video feed was labeled Monitor 4, Operator EK, the same initials that appeared in the leaked group chat. The same initials that matched Erika Kirk. The same initials connected to the monitoring portal login. But this time, there was no plausible deniability, because the top of the surveillance panel had a timestamp, and that timestamp was from the exact minute before Charlie Kirk was shot, meaning someone with the initials EK had access to a live multi-angle surveillance feed moments before the shooting. Someone was monitoring Micky. Someone was watching the crowd. Someone was tracking the stage. Someone knew where the danger was coming from. But the twist wasn't just that Erika may have had access to this system. The twist was what happened at the end of the leaked clip. The last 2 seconds of the surveillance video showed something chilling, something nobody expected. A hand entering the frame and shutting off the monitor. A woman's hand. A gold bracelet. The same gold bracelet Erika was photographed wearing at the memorial service days later. But before the clip cut, the audio, barely audible, caught a whisper. "It's done." That 2-second whisper set the internet on fire. Was it real? Was it edited? Was it planted? Nobody knew. But what happened next made things even more terrifying. Minutes after the clip went viral, Erika Kirk's entire Twitter account vanished, deactivated instantly. Her Instagram went dark. Her press rep canceled all interviews. TPUSA leadership shut down comments across all platforms. And multiple insiders reported that Erika and her children were relocated for safety. But relocated why? From whom? And then, the final twist. The cliffhanger that broke the internet. A new anonymous account posted 4 words on X, claiming to be from someone inside the operation. Micky wasn't the target. Within seconds, the post disappeared. But not before millions saw it. Not before screenshots spread. Not before theories detonated. If Micky wasn't the target, who was? If the surveillance was tracking Micky, who ordered it? If Erika accessed the feed, what had she been told would happen? And, most dangerously, if Charlie wasn't supposed to be the victim, then who was? As panic, suspicion, and conspiracy theories exploded across every platform, one last message appeared on an encrypted Telegram channel used by whistleblowers covering the case. Chapter 2 begins when you follow the phone. Then it vanished, and now the internet is holding its breath, waiting for the next drop. Because whatever truth is lurking behind burner phones, deleted accounts, surveillance feeds, and whispered messages, it hasn't fully surfaced yet. And when it does, someone in that inner circle is going to fall. And now that the surveillance feeds, the burner phones, the contradictions, the metadata, the missing wife, the secret drone tracking, the whispered, "It's done," and the chilling message that Micky wasn't the target have officially shattered the safe version of this story. We've reached a point where nothing can be brushed off as coincidence anymore. Someone inside that circle knew something. Someone accessed that monitoring portal. Someone tracked Micky McCoy from above. Someone whispered into that camera. Someone erased accounts, silenced witnesses, deleted posts, relocated Erika, and someone, right now, is terrified of the truth getting out. So I want to hear from you. What do you think is really happening here? Was Erika monitoring the event? Was the leak accidental? Or a guilty conscience slipping? Was Micky following orders? And most importantly, if Micky wasn't the target, then who was? Drop your theories in the comments right now, because the next chapter is going to depend on the questions you ask. And trust me when I say this, we are only scratching the surface. Hit like if you want part 2. Subscribe so you don't miss a single update. Turn on notifications because the next leak could drop at any moment. And ask yourself one last question before you leave. If this was all just coincidence, why is everyone involved suddenly disappearing? Stay tuned. Chapter 2 is coming.